Hemophilia, this is basically a congenital condition which is a hereditary disorder of the coagulation system. So what do we mean by that? By that we mean is that these patients, they do not coagulate. Their blood does not clot like a normal person because certain factors are missing in their body. And there are three main types of hemophilia. The first is hemophilia A, where you have a deficiency of a factor called factor 8. The second one is hemophilia B, which is a deficiency of factor 9. And the third one is a deficiency of factor 11, which is known as hemophilia C. Hemophilia C basically is very rare. The first two, hemophilia A and hemophilia B, are the common ones, and most patients have these. There is no cure for hemophilia per se. However, it can be very well controlled, and today we have medications whereby if the patients take the medications on time and correctly, they can live perfectly normal lives. So medication is what? Basically, we have to replace the factor which is missing in the body. So if you have hemophilia A, then you need replacement with factor 8. If you have hemophilia B, you need replacement with factor 9. Both these are not easily, but definitely available. Unfortunately, they are expensive. But if treatment is taken properly and on time, then patients can live a perfectly normal life. Both hemophilia A and B are basically X-linked disorders. What do we mean by that? What we mean is that the people who are affected are males and the female is the carrier. So generally females are not affected by hemophilia A or B, but they are the carriers of the disease. So they will transmit it to their sons, and it is the male that is generally affected. Of course, there are very rare cases where you can have hemophilia in a female patient also. Though we haven't spoken about it, there is a condition known as von Willebrand disease, which is also a factor 8 deficiency, and this of course can happen in both males and females, and they also present clinically like a patient of hemophilia A or hemophilia B. Hemophilia patients can present either with a severe hemophilia, a mild or a moderate hemophilia. What do we mean by this? This depends on the factor level of the patient. So if a patient of hemophilia A is there, that is a factor 8 deficiency. If the 8 is less than 1% in the body, these are the patients who have what is known as a severe hemophilia A. Generally, patients of moderate and mild do not really present with any major bleeding complaints. And in fact, they may be missed in life, they may never be diagnosed, and sometimes they will only be diagnosed following some surgery or some trauma. What we deal with really is the hemophilia A or B, which is the severe form, where you have a factor deficiency of less than 1%, either 8 or 9. These are the patients who present with bleeding symptoms early in life, usually, and when they come with these symptoms, they are investigated and they are diagnosed. However, hemophilia is not a very well-known condition, and the awareness about this is quite less, and therefore many patients are missed. About, say, 30 years ago, when we first started dealing with hemophilia, the awareness was so low that hardly anyone used to be diagnosed. However, over the years, the awareness has increased and we have such programs on Hemophilia World Hemophilia Day. So things are much better. In fact, 30 years ago, we had no treatment. We hardly had any treatment for it. Today, we have treatment. And compared to what we were at that time, things have improved. So no doubt, awareness has increased. But even so, a lot of patients are missed even today. So how exactly do these patients present to the doctor? Again, we are dealing with severe hemophilia, like I have said. These patients come with what is known as generally spontaneous bleeds. So bleed can be anywhere in the body. The commonest site of bleeding in a hemophilia are the joints, especially the large joints. So these are the knee joints, the ankle, the hip, elbow, wrist, shoulder. These are the joints which commonly get affected, the commonest of this being the knee joints. So bleeding occurs within the joints, and because of this bleeding, there is a swelling of the joint and extreme pain in the joints. And once this happens, it needs to be treated by replacement of factor. What are the other common sites of bleeding? Well, patients can bleed in the muscles, and the back muscles are very commonly affected. Because these patients have a problem with their coagulation system, that is, that clotting does not occur properly, the bleeding can occur basically anywhere in the body. So you can get bleeds in the brain, you can get bleeds in the stomach, you can get bleeds while vomiting or through your motions, or you may get bleeds in the urine. So basically any system in the body can be affected by bleeds. Another common site of bleeding is what we call as mucosal bleeds. So that is oral bleeds. So gum bleeding or bleeding through the urine or bleeding in the stool. These are other common manifestations. What do we do whenever there is patient has bleeding? One has to replace with the deficient factor. So that is factor 8 or factor 9. This is known as on-demand treatment basically. However, today we know that if a patient needs to lead a normal life, then ideally these patients need to be on what is known as prophylactic treatment. That is, prophylactic infusions of either factor 8 or 9 depending on their condition. And this is given 2 to 3 times a week. What does this do? This keeps the patient's factor levels above 1% and thereby prevents spontaneous bleeds. The major hitch for this, of course, is the continuous availability of factor and, of course, the expense of the factor. And therefore, not everyone is able to enable this particular form of treatment, though it would be ideal. If this is not possible, then the best thing to do is, as and when there is a bleed, the patients need to be given the appropriate factor.